Welcome to Your Moment with Miguel Ramirez.
Hello and welcome to Your Moment. My name is Miguel Ramirez, and in today's episode I'm going to be talking with Michael Peñafiel. Michael Peñafiel is a self-defense instructor. He's also a marriage and family therapist, and in today's episode he talks about the benefits of self-defense training. He shares what the process is when somebody goes through it, and also he talks about impact personal safety and the Dog Brothers. My interview with Michael Peñafiel.
You know, I think intuitively we all know some signs, but in the self-defense training that we do, we go into more details of behavior. Like, so I will act in a certain way. I will present myself a certain way, like, I'm angry, or, I'm nice and charming, whatever, So, yeah, so when I provide the self-defense training, my role as the bad guy, the mock assailant, the MI, whatever the name is, I have to present to the student, not only the individual student, but to the group of students, hey, here's what some behavior can look like, like I'm angry, or like, oh, cool, hey, I'm lost, can you help me? Like, you bitch, what the you looking at? Oh, you never seen a drunk guy before? Whatever. So that way they like, oh, okay. They're familiar with the behavior. Otherwise, if I've never seen it before, like the woman, from how this all started, she expects, a fight is going to like, whatever, but she was totally surprised,
right.
Caught off guard, and what our job then is to do is like, okay, we're gonna give you as much information as possible, so that way you're not as caught off guard. I mean, yeah, we can't cover everything, but that's the reality of any kind of like any kind of training. You're only limited to certain things,
right? And so, from somebody who participates in your training, mm-hmm. what can they expect from either an introduction into the training, or mm-hmm. what would be a typical session for somebody participating?
So our sessions are anywhere from like a basic introduction workshop, which is about 3 hours, to the full class, which is like anywhere from 16 to 20 hours of training. And what we cover are things like, hey, how to physically deal with things, but then even more importantly, how to psychologically manage it, how to emotionally manage it, and more importantly, how to develop boundary setting skills, verbal boundary setting skills. How to have really good interpersonal relationship skills that will help you distinguish, all right, this person, the stranger who's talking to me, I'll talk to them normally, but now I see the way they're saying what they're saying and how they're behaving. This might not be a good situation, so I'm just going to set my boundary here. Hey, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And then deal with it, what happens there. And we also do interpersonal stuff. Like, a lot of people oftentimes are worried about the stranger. Makes sense, But then, oftentimes too, the people that are close to you or familiar with you, let's say like a significant other or like a classmate or something like that. Yeah, we find out oftentimes they are perpetrators of intimate crimes like rape, date rape, molestation, things like that. So we also give them skills to know how to like, verbally set the boundaries with people that you're gonna see a lot.
Right.
Once you're a stranger, you can tell us, hey, maybe give the stranger some attitude. You're rarely gonna see them again. But then if like let's say you and I are roommates, and I was like, man, dude, Miguel, I need to talk to you about the fact that you're borrowing my car a lot. I feel taken advantage of. I don't want that. I don't think that's your intention, blah, blah, blah. So we give them those kind of skills too, because,
so
that happens.
In the sense of a potential attacker, it could easily be a friend, somebody you see on a daily basis, mm-hmm. who may not indicate that aggressive nature in the beginning, mm-hmm. but later on in the course of either a relationship, pure relationship, you might notice them being hostile and suggest that type of intent.
Yeah, exactly. Great example. I had a friend of mine that talked about how she was a receptionist at this at a company, and the FedEx guy who'd come in, and she was cool with him like for like years, and then one day she noticed that he started talking to her more about like intimate stuff, friend stuff. Like it wasn't that bad.
Right.
Say, oh yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I'm not in a relationship. She's single. Blah blah blah. Kind of like banter, not even banter, like conversation that you have with somebody who you're more familiar with.
Right.
And then he asked her out on a date, but then the way he asked her out was like, oh, to her was creepy.
Right.
And she said, Mike, you were totally right. I was like, well, I'm not right. I'm just saying I'm just saying that, it happens, and later on I found out like down the line, the guy was, when she set her boundary with him, he started acting like became more hostile. And then later on he was fired. And, and she found out through friends, it's like, oh yeah, no, he's creepy to the women at work and stuff like that,
Wow.
And, she's like, I'm so glad that she saw it, but this was after like a couple of years of just knowing the guy, seeing him familiarly. They weren't even friends, but she was familiar with him. But there was something about the way he presented himself just didn't agree with her. So she said, no, but then he got more hostile. Cause if you think about it, someone's harmless, yeah, okay, guys, they get their feelings hurt. I asked a pretty girl out.
They move on.
And then later on, hey, everything's still cool, right? But like, no, yeah, it went downhill from there. Like she said, he started getting more, like, giving her more attitude, more aggressive, more of these, like, just underhanded comments about what she was wearing and stuff like that. She's like, oh my God, she's like, what the hell? She was totally caught off guard by it. So she was glad because, her imagination goes to another place like, oh, he could rape me. Like, ooh, maybe. Or maybe he's just, who knows? But
right.
At least you're safe. And so that was the most important thing.
And so from your area of expertise talking about the self-defense, what other areas would you say you have expertise in?
Well, okay, so I've been a self-defense instructor for 20 years, with that company. I'm also a marriage and family therapist, so I, I help people with their relationships and, in that area, how you talk to each other, how you behave, that kind of helps me in that field too. In fact, now I think about it, I've been a self-defense instructor longer than I've been a marriage and family therapist. And both skills from both sets actually help me out in terms of like, working with couples.
Each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I've worked with a lot of couples, and it's like in terms of conflict resolution, here are some things to think about. Because even obviously I can't share anything as a therapist, but there are times when you have to have good verbal skills. Like anyone, like whether you're a child or a parent or whatever, you have to have good verbal skills. You got to be clear and communicate. So I do that. I also martial artist. I've been doing martial arts for 16 years. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I do knife fighting under the Apache knife fighting system. Started delving into stick fighting. Actually, just became a full Dog Brother. The Dog Brothers are a full combat stick fighting group. Talk about true MMA. It's true MMA where it's not just punches, kicks, grappling. It's like, okay, let's have weapons.
Weapons.
Yeah.
Like,
Sticks. Usually sticks, but I did have a fight with a frying pan. Like I had a frying pan while my partner he had a knife. So it was like I said like this is a kitchen fight. Like we ran in the kitchen. I grabbed a frying pan. He grabbed a knife. Let's fight and see what happens.
So in the fighting sense, where one person has a frying pan, one person has a knife, is there a type of rule or boundary to where, okay, the knife is slightly more dangerous, this person's able to do X, Y, and Z?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like whatever tool you have. Like, I remember one gathering, that's like the Dog Brothers, it's like when they all get together and let's fight. I did a fight with, I said, like, I have one of my chinelas, it's like a chancla, my chinela and a belt. That's it. This is the weapons I found because you just broke into my house. Now I gotta fight you. And the other person, they had a knife. Yeah. Oh, you were in my kitchen. You grabbed a knife, but these are the weapons I have. And so, the cool thing about that kind of forum, is that you get to experiment and it's live. You get to experiment and see what you can do because, like you said, someone having a knife and I have a frying pan. It's they could do certain things with a knife. I could do certain things with a frying pan. I could do certain things with a frying pan handle and the frying pan, versus the knife, so you get to experiment with all sorts of different things, with the Dog Brothers.
For anyone who wanted more information, where can they find out more about the Dog Brothers?
Just Google them up. Dog Brothers. They've been around for the longest time, you know. So you just Google up Dog Brothers and boom, right there on their website. So.
And so, also when you talked about like family therapists, would you say that from your experience doing the self-defense training that a part of like those people who may be interested in self-defense training that may stem from a potential relationship issue or it may stem from something they want to enhance or get more knowledge with themselves in terms of being prepared for hostile relationship, hostile date, something where they're able to exercise more caution and be more confident in themselves?
Yes, yeah, I would say yes. In fact, some of the people I teach are referred by their therapist to the program. You know, and yeah, they're looking for empowerment, they're looking for their voice, confidence, you know, that's kind of what we do is help people who come to us find their confidence, find their voice. Because, you know, really what sucks about our society, you know, I mean, it's getting better, you know, like especially with the what was it, the hashtag Me Too movement, all that stuff. What sucks is that, you know, women still are not treated as fairly, you know, and I say fairly as opposed to equally because I personally believe no one's equal, you know, like we're all different in some way, so we're not the same, but that doesn't mean we can't treat each other fairly, you know, and so I don't think women are treated fairly in our, you know, in our society. I mean, if you think about it, it's okay for guys to walk around topless. No one cares, you know, but all right, like, I thought, oh, he's good physique, oh, whatever, he's hairy, whatever. But until the day women can walk around topless and no one loses their mind, we're never going to be able to treat each other fairly, you know.
That was something that I noticed on the, I believe the website's pay scale where they talk about a male's income and then they compare it to like a woman's and like the drastic decrease. Like if the woman's able to do the same job and just as efficiently, why is there such a drastic dip?
Yeah, there, you know, and that's where the equality comes in. Like when I use equal, it's like, yeah, you know, men and women are different creatures, yes, but in terms of doing a job like that has a certain pay rate, give them equal pay. You know, that makes no sense to me. And you know, and then obviously there's so many things that contribute to that. I'm not going to get on the soapbox about it, but you know, it sucks. It sucks, and unfortunately that contributes to the whole notion of how I got into, you know, of the company I work with. You know, like we believe that, you know, women should be treated fairly, should have equal pay for equal work. You know, I mean, it makes sense that they should be looked at as peers, not as subservient, not as weaker, not as this. And it sucks because a lot of women, you know, don't think they can do what they do. And to go back to your question, you said earlier, what can some of the clients expect? I could confidently say they could expect to know that they're going to get in touch with their strength. It's something that they may not have really been in touch with, or maybe they have had an idea, but not truly in the survival sense, but they do get in touch with it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen within 3 hours. I've seen it happen in 20 hours. That the person who came walking through the door, who was really shy, didn't know really how to speak for themselves, they end up with this really being more confident, you know, having more skills, and can, you know, appear like that they can stand up for themselves more. Now, I don't know what that looks like in their real life because, you know, we don't follow them in their real life.
Right.
But I like knowing that we can give them something to discover that part of themselves, because truly, in the end, that's what it's about, is that empowerment. So, you know, why the term empowerment, self-defense is there, you know, because that's in the end the goal. It's like get you in touch with, you know, that strength that you didn't think you had, because maybe, you know, you had an experience where, you know, a bad experience where like you just felt disempowered, you know, whether through natural means or you know, an accident or an individual violating that part of you, or you just never knew you had it because no one ever really encouraged you to do that, you know. So that's what they could also expect too. Is that like, yeah, you're gonna get in touch with your power, your strength. Now, how they feel about that, that's a whole different journey, you know.
Right.
So, but they're gonna definitely get in touch with it. So.
And so, what made you want to delve into this field of self-defense training?
Oh, you know, it's I share this story every time like a new class starts. I was invited to so Impact does graduations, you know, where the students do, you know, they go through the course, and oftentimes, you know, friends and family, hey, what did you learn? You know, and I had this whole notion of, women's self-defense training. It's like, they're going to stomp on the foot. That's my person. Run away. No, really, it's a whole different thing. And so how I got involved was my friends who were taking it at the school where I was an undergrad, they invited me to their graduation. The school provided the training for them. And I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, you know, and at the time I've had martial arts training, all that stuff. I was really blown away, and I was really amazed that my friends who had little or no athletic or martial arts background were fighting these guys who were aggressive, bigger than them, and they were winning successfully. Winning meaning like they survived the encounter, and you know they got their wits about them, as opposed to being like really all shaken up on the like, yeah, it was scary, but like I got it, and I was like I want to be part of this, you know, because their whole thing is to, you know, for both men and women, to address this concern, you know, of violence against women. Mm-hmm. And that to me just struck a chord in me, because, you know, my mom, she's a strong woman, you know, she's always stood up for herself, you know, whether explicitly or implicitly, you know, I just knew she wasn't a pushover. And, you know, I've always been surrounded by strong women like that, you know, and it was just, you know, I was like, I want to be part of that. You know, I've been in the helping field for a long time, and so that's how I got into that type of training, you know, particularly with that company, you know, because I saw graduation, and I was like, wow, that's amazing, you know, so.
And so for anyone who wanted to find out more about self-defense training or the type of training that you teach, where can they find that?
Google up Impact Personal Safety, Los Angeles. That's there, or just self-defense training. You know, I mean, in my mind, yeah, we're good because I know what we provide. But there's all sorts of self-defense training out there, and it's my belief that any training, you know, you got to figure out what fits you. You know, whether it's martial arts, Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whatever, or hey, you know, if you want to invest in yourself that way. Or, you know, come take a class with us. There's all sorts of options. But really, the important thing is you got to invest in yourself. You know, you got to invest in yourself, and you got to figure a way to, you know, especially if you think you need self-defense training, you got to look at some things in your life. You know, well, what's happening that's leading you up to that?
Right.
You know?
Well, that's going to conclude today's interview. I'd like to thank Miguel Peñafiel for sharing his information on self-defense training. For anyone who is curious, that is impactpersonalsafety.com. And to find information on the Dog Brothers, that is dogbrothers.com. Also, to give a slight update on the podcast, from episode 30 on up to 36, I was releasing all the audio content. And moving forward to the last episodes, it would just be solely on the video aspect of the podcast as well. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.
Stay up to date with news, interviews, and upcoming show episodes by following Your Moment with Miguel Ramirez on Spreaker.com.